In this episode, we talk about connection because it's at the heart of public relations. Bonjour, hello everyone. I'm Nata, host of the NATA PR School podcast. You're a successful entrepreneur or marketing manager and you're about to launch a new product or service? Or you've been selling your goods for quite some time, but you want to learn how to increase your visibility, get known, and reach more clients? At NATA PR, we deal with real clients every day and we'll teach you simple, fun, and honest PR solutions. You'll learn easy steps to combine PR to social media right now. Keep listening and let's get started. Bonjour, hello, and welcome to this 110th episode of the NATA PR School podcast. Yes, 110 episode. Since the 100, every time I'm recording a new one, I can't get over how fast it goes. And this is already 110. So thank you for listening and being there, my friends. So today we talk about connection and how important it is and what's the connection indeed with public relations. So probably for those who have followed us quite a bit, so since the beginning of NATA PR School, since I really created this adventure, I've been thinking a lot about public relations and the type of profession it is and what is public relation, how to explain it and how to define it and why should we use it, right? What should you use PR? I've already covered the relations part of public relations, the relation word in our profession that is so important. But I wanted to talk about connection today. Why? You'll see a little further. It's kind of the next level to relation. So the last few years, we've really expanded. We are present in some markets, North American markets, of course, US, Canada, and now in Europe. So, of course, we have expanded not only our horizons, but our number of contacts. As you can imagine, it's constantly growing and fast. So before the influencer profession was even a job, when we were hosting, let's say, a new product launch, we were inviting media. And so in, let's say, a market, sometimes even in New York, when you had like 15, 20 journalists, a dozen journalists, you were ecstatic and happy because you reached like a lot of people. But today, when you have 30, 40 influencers and more, this is what's happening. So can you imagine? Our job hasn't changed since, the advent of internet a lot because we're still building relationship, but it's the number of contacts that we have that has exploded and that's constantly changing because sometimes, some influencers do that for a few years. Many of them move on to do something else, some stop and, they started a job or a different career. So it's rare that you're an influencer all your life, right? Maybe, some of them will be there in another 10 years, but we'll see what's going to happen. All this to say that the number of contacts that we have is just insane. So sometimes we even do two types of events for a same launch. We do one for the journalist and we do another one just for the influencers. As an example, my partner that manages the Toronto office and our US teams just did an event and 70 influencers confirmed their attendance at this event where they were launching a new spirit, a new drink. And the spokesperson was a hockey player. So, and as you can imagine, in the United States and in Canada, hockey players are huge stars. So everybody wants to meet sometimes if it's a big name. And that was the case here. It was a very famous hockey player. So 70 influencers. And they had to stop and say, well, we're complete. So probably they would have had more. Voila. So what I still like so much about everything that we do and those presentation of new products, it's that even today, like the same rules apply. because we're humans at the end of the day. And journalists, for example, they still want to receive the same information. They want everything factual. They want to know, why are you inviting me to, and just for an example, we didn't invite journalists to meet this hockey player. We just invited influencers. Isn't that interesting? Because it was a kind of a crazy, much more a party than newsworthy, if you see what I mean. So sometimes you don't even invite journalists if it's not something interesting for them, because the journalists, they want to know, what are the facts. So what's in your electric car? Why is it so? What's so new and interesting? And what's the revolution in your car and your product you're presenting? What are the new ingredients and where they're coming from? Influencers, they're more about, lifestyles, and they want to live a different experience. So we create events where they can take themselves, pictures of themselves, discovering a product, wearing it, using it. So everything has to be sometimes Instagrammable, as we say. So a lot of visual, a lot of backdrop where they can do stories and even or record something for TikTok, as you can imagine. And I was there, when these influencers can say, well, I was invited and I was there, to their fans. This is how they also increase their number of fans. Their fans love to follow them and see what they're doing and where they are invited. So this is part of our job, actually. This is what we do. However, the watchword is still relations here, which for me goes even further when we had connection that we're talking about in this podcast. So to me, relations can be very superficial, of course, and very useful in a business mindset. You need to connect with many people, so relations can be good. But a connection is the other level. I explain very often to my students and my employees that we're lucky to be able to connect with journalists from all around North America. Can you imagine that? And now in Europe, where we work with some of our clients, and they want us to accompany them in their journey in some of their markets, which we love. So much fun for us. So, of course, we are broadening our connections every day. But know this, all it takes to really create a real connection, sometimes it might not happen, but to create a real connection, you need to do a one-on-one or a coffee, invite them for coffee. It means, the connection is going to happen when you meet them face to face. And you need to meet them only once. This is why I'm telling my employees, my students, make a list of the top people you should be meeting at least once. And you can invite them for coffee, lunch if they want, but it can be a quick meeting. But if you are able to do this face to face and meet with them with an open heart, it's going to change everything. The connection is going to be there and it's going to stay there forever. So isn't that crazy? Only one meeting. So think of it. So maybe there's only 20 amazing journalists you need to meet. It's not a lot. Even today, there's no substitute for meeting face to face. We're human beings at the end of the day. We're all humans. And connection is the reason we've evolved and survived. Because when you're a baby and you're a newborn, you need to create this connection. This is something we all have. And this is a super powerful tool we can use in our daily work. So if you're able to do this real connection, it has a high value. And it's still so vital today to making progress and preserving our own mental health. If you're alone, and we know that during COVID was super difficult for many of you out there, if you were disconnected and only connected online, it might have been extremely difficult. We need this human connection. So connection is such a vast subject, and I've been studying it, and I'll be for sure talking about it in some other podcasts. But I wanted to end this one with a quotation with Cathy Engelbert. She's the WNBA commissioner, WNBA for Women's Basketball Association. So Kathy says something that I really think is so true. This is what she says. So no matter what technology and shiny tools we use in our business, we should always come back to relationships. And I believe it's so true. We probably crave for connections more than ever. So if you are building a company, think about it. So you're building connections with your clients, potential clients, and then, you need to have this connection. Once you have this connection, maybe these clients are going to be there and buy your products on an ongoing basis. They will fall in love with you and buy what you have to propose. So connection is what we are discussing in this podcast. Relations, public relations, and connection. So hopefully this was a little PR break in your day and that you've enjoyed this podcast. And I hope you'll be joining me next week. À la semaine prochaine. Hey, you want to learn more about how to implement PR strategies? Head on to natapr.com and get on our list. You will also receive the NATA PR model on how to create a successful PR campaign. If you want to become a client, just send us an email to nata@natapr.com. Talk to you next week. À la semaine prochaine.